It's the National Football League on EA Sports.
And we've got the Chargers' versatile linebacker.
He's a nightmare to deal with in the front seven. It's the Chargers and the Panthers.
And it's all up next on EA Sports.
Our coverage of the NFL brings us to the southern end of the Tar Heel State and to this beautiful venue, Bank of America Stadium here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Up in the booth alongside Brock Hewitt, I'm Kate Scott, and we are grateful to be up here today because, well, it's been raining.
Hello and welcome back to Retro Era 3. This era again is the 1984 through 1996 season. So I'm just going to turn the broadcast off here. Let's go field. Okay. And today we have the 1994 San Diego Chargers at the 1996 Carolina Panthers. So two teams that did not win the Super Bowl, but were the best of their franchises during this period. The Chargers, of course, made it to the Super Bowl in '94, but did not bring it home. And then the Carolina Panthers of '96 made it to the NFC Championship game, but lost to the Packers. So here we go with the quarterback of your Chargers, Stan Humphries, threw the ball 50 times in Week 1 for 279 yards. That's not normal. The Chargers were not built on Stan Humphries throwing the ball 50 times. So we'll see if they go with a different game plan, as that did not work in Week 1. Hey, Vinny. Yeah. Well, good night. Yeah, kind of motivated by the Sack to the Future memories. But back to the best teams of eras. So have a good night. Hopefully you check out some of the games. Hopefully I will be able to do at least one a week or something. Maybe more. We'll see. But there you see a big stop by Sam Mills. That long-time veteran linebacker who's going to actually be on a couple teams because he's also on the 1992 Saints. There's Humphries getting hit as he throws, but was able to get the ball away, so he will not lose yards on the sack. Cregan there to force that incompletion. So the Chargers will punt. Not anything going on for the Chargers. Now, both of these teams, when just, when they first started this, just off of memory, well, let's take a look at the quarterback of Carolina first. That is going to be Kerry Collins. You see he had a much better Week 1, still threw 43 attempts, a little bit high, 276 yards, but 2 touchdowns, no picks. Kerry Collins in 1996 had 364 attempts in 12 starts. So he did throw the ball more than Humphries, but here on his very first throw, he throws it right into the hands of Dennis Gibson, the linebacker for the Chargers, and the Chargers force a turnover. How about that? So Kerry Collins, who had an impressive Week 1, you see the records down below. Carolina did win in Week 1, whereas the Chargers lost. Here's a handoff to Natron Means. Not much there. I was going to say just based off of memory, knowing these teams in my mind, and I think a lot of people mind, both these teams were here because of their defense. A couple things to say about that. The Chargers, just to give you a quick stat here, the Chargers were 9th in the league in 1994 at defense, but they were actually 5th in scoring offense. So they're a very well-rounded team, actually. Their offense is better than people remember, and the defense is actually not as good as people give them credit for. Here comes a field goal attempt. So the Chargers unable, in fact, they lose yards after getting that interception, but still such great field position that they set it up for Carney to drill it through the uprights, and the Chargers take a 3-0 lead. The Panthers, more more correct if you think they have a great defense. They were the second best defense in 1996, behind only the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers, who, of course, these Panthers lost to in the NFC Championship game. So it's number 2 defense, but they also had the number 7 offense. So Kerry Collins, impressive start to his career. Again, not any super flashy numbers. Kerry Collins, 56%, 2,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He started 12 of the games, so 75% of the season he was the starter. The other 25% was Steve Berline. And their records were basically the same. Kerry Collins was 9-3 as a starter. Berline was 3-1 as a starter, so they don't lose anything when going to back up Berline. Kerry Collins was 56.0% completion. Steve Berline, 56.1% completion. So again, very little difference between the two quarterbacks. Berline actually a better touchdown to interception ratio, but very, very equivalent in their ratings and such. Kerry Collins getting the start today. He also got the start in week 1. But like I said, if you followed the first, either the pilot video or the first game, which was played, the week 1 game that was showcased, injuries are off so that we don't have, like Barry Sanders getting hurt and the entire Lions season is like, why do I even want to watch this team without Barry Sanders? But what we will do is reflect real life injuries and how much they played. So for this team, as I said, Berline started 4 of the games, Collins 12 of the games. I'll make sure Berline gets 4 starts, in this season. Now, of course, this is Madden 25, so there's going to be 17 games played, so an extra game for teams in this era. When we go with Retro Era 1, which is the 1960 through 1974, some of those seasons, some of those teams are, from 12 or 14 game schedules. So the fact that they get to play 17 will certainly give some extra games to be played. But still, the idea is, let's see how good the teams were, not their potential. For instance, if they had no injuries, how great could they have been? Let's reflect some of the stuff they had to deal with. So the 66 Packers, with very little production from Paul Hornung, that kind of stuff. Sure, he'll be on the team, but I won't have him rated as like a 90 Hall of Famer, and he'll get to play all 17 games. That kind of stuff. That's, of course, Retro Era 1, but in this one here, Retro Era 3, we'll make sure Berline gets some starts on the Seahawks, 1984 Seahawks. Kurt Warner injured in the very first week, so he'll play very little to none of the entire season. Even though if you were to download the roster and just play the season for yourself, he is the best running back. And speaking of best running backs, I believe that's Johnson. Anthony Johnson. It didn't look like he has a visor. He should have a visor, but maybe I'm just missing it. Anyways, Anthony Johnson is number 23. So also, no visor. Interesting. All right, well, but Anthony Johnson does run it in for the touchdown, and the Panthers take a 6-3 lead. John Casey on to put the extra point through. And John Casey with that extra point. Another thing I wanted to bring up, these Panthers, this is just the second team in existence. Of course, the Panthers started in 95, and then in 96 they were already in the NFC Championship game. Went 12-4 in the regular season. As we talked about, the 7th best scoring offense and 2nd in defense. The league had we got to watch some broken tackles here. Gordon breaks a couple tackles, gets it all the way up to the 39. But I was going to say the Panthers, the other thing that might stick out in people's mind is their great special teams. Casey had a great year as a field goal kicker. Their punter had an excellent year, and they had the best return, the special teams return yardage in the league. So, again, number 2 at defense, number 7 offense, and arguably number 1 at special teams, all in 96. So a very good team. But the Chargers, again, also a good team. I mean, they made it to the Super Bowl, not by accident. 11-5, won the division, made it all the way to the Super Bowl. 5th in offense, 9th in defense. There's a handoff to Means. He gets the first down, but there is a flag. So it is holding on Stan Brock, and the Chargers will have to, instead of having the first down, they'll have to go to a 3rd and 10. Humphreys from the shotgun, and he's going to get hit by multiple Panthers. Fox was the leader, but multiple Panthers were hitting Humphreys on that play, and he will have to have his team punted away. Stan Humphreys in 1994 was 58.3% completion, over 3,000 yards. He had 3,200 yards. It's 17 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, giving him a quarterback rating of 81.6, which is actually better than the Carolina Panthers quarterback rating held by Kerry Collins. I think Stan Humphreys a little bit underrated. I mean, you heard the numbers. He wasn't amazing, but a better than average quarterback for the time. So the Panthers won in week 1. The Chargers lost. That was an interesting pass. That's quite accurate. The receiver fell down, but Kerry Collins still threw it in between like 3 Chargers to the Panther that was on the ground, and he caught it. So that's extreme accuracy shown from Kerry Collins, or extreme luck. One way or the other, it works out for the Panthers. There's another handoff. Johnson spins off a tackler and gets into the secondary where he's tackled, bringing up a 3rd and 4. Anthony Johnson in 1996 did carry the ball 300 times. So you will see a lot of him. There's a completion underneath, and actually knocked out. Was that Junior Seau? Junior Seau knocks it out of Anthony Johnson's hands. You know what? I wonder if because of the rain, they take the visor off. I haven't really paid attention, but just since I know Harmon over on the Chargers, the 3rd down back for the San Diego Chargers, also has a visor. So probably more visors in this game than any other game normally. But because it's raining, we'll have to see if Harmon's wearing his, but Johnson not wearing his visor. Maybe Madden has it coded where in the rain the visors are not worn. I'm not sure. In both cases, they are dark visors. So a gain of 5 yards, brings up 2nd and 5. Play action pass, and then they throw it underneath, but it's dropped. A little bit low of a throw, though. And Humphreys is going to be sacked again. Lamar Lathan and Kevin Breen both got there. And that is exactly the people to highlight. It's the linebacking core that you really want to highlight here for the Panthers. And we'll take a look at Lamar Lathan right now. Kevin Green got there too. It was a race. I actually think Green might have beat Lathan there, but they're going to give it to Lathan. Nope, Lathan won. From the other view, it was very close, but from the other angle, it looked like Green beat him. But in truth, it does appear that Lathan got there first. Probably should give it a half sack to each. Here's another punt from the Chargers and just a fair catch. So we're not able to see the good Carolina kick return game just yet. In fact, we actually saw a good return by Gordon on the Chargers. And he's also a pretty good return man. Kerry Collins comes out from the shotgun, fires downfield, and that's complete. Mark Carrier, the wideout, getting the ball, doing some gymnastics afterwards. Did he just hurt himself? That is interesting. Luckily for him, injuries are off, so he really shouldn't be able to hurt himself. Here's a handoff to, I believe that's Batuka. Yes, sir, Batuka. Giving Anthony Johnson a rest. Gets some yards, but it's called back for holding. So we talked about Anthony Johnson and his 300 carries, by far the most on this team. But when he does take a break, it's by Batuka who gives it to him. He carried the ball 71 times in 1996. The Carolina Panthers, in case you're wondering, ran the ball over 500 times, 502 rushing attempts. So again, 300 of them, or basically 60% of the time, it was Anthony Johnson carrying the ball. But they did run the ball quite a bit, 502 running attempts, 487 passing attempts. So almost 50-50, but actually slightly more runs than passes. All right, so Carolina Panthers, we threw some stats out there for you. Let's, since I think back in Madden 18 or so, they gave you the starting lineups and actually put them on the screen. I thought that was kind of cool. They don't do that anymore, but we'll go over the names. Of course, they did show you Kerry Collins. We've talked about starting running back Anthony Johnson. The fullback is Howard Griffith. You know what? Let me start over. Let me give you some ages just for fun. To know something about this team. We'll kind of do this the first time they're featured. Then we might go into more specific stories and talk about one or two individuals on the team. I'm not sure exactly how this will go, but for the first game that is featured for each team, I'll try to at least give you, who their starting lineups were and a little bit of stats about how good they were. Again, stuff you can just look up on the internet, of course, but while we're watching the game in the background, might as well talk about something, right? So Humphreys is going to fake it to Means and then deliver it to him, and it looks like he's going to be holding again. So the Chargers, not known for being the most undisciplined team of the era or anything, but they're having problems with the penalties today. So since the Chargers have the ball, let's meet the Chargers. Stan Humphreys, quarterback, 29 years old. There's a completion out to Tony Martin, who gets some of that holding yardage back. Running back is the Pro Bowl, the only offensive Pro Bowler of the Chargers, and you see him there with the star on him. That's Natron Means. The Chargers, when they go with a fullback, it's kind of a ultra back type position. Alfred Pupuno and Dwayne Young are two tight ends. Sometimes they'll go two tight end set. Sometimes they'll go one tight end and line one of them up as the fullback. Right there, you saw Dwayne Young was lined up back there as a fullback. Man, these teams are having such problems on offense. Okay, let's go faster. We'll go faster on this drive, and then we'll do the Chargers when they get the ball again. Okay, so here we go. Carolina Panthers, quarterback, Pro Bowler, Kerry Collins, 24-year-old kid. Again, we kind of went over stats already. Running back is Anthony Johnson. Fullback, Anthony Johnson, 29 years of age. Kind of a breakout season here with the Panthers after bouncing around before this season. Howard Johnson, the fullback, also 29 years old. He only carries the ball 12 times, so he's definitely just a blocker. But he did have 27 catches out of the backfield, so you will see him slip into the flat from time to time. The receivers, Mark Carrier and Willie Green, are the starters, but their third receiver, you might recognize the name of Mushin Muhammad. He was a rookie in 96, and definitely their third best receiver. The other Pro Bowler, along with Kerry Collins on this team, is the guy with the X Factor right here, Wesley Walls. He drops the ball, though. Well, it was knocked loose. Wesley Walls, okay, and then your offensive line from left to right. Wesley Walls, 30 years old. Left to right, left tackle is a 23-year-old Brockenmeyer. The left guard, 28-year-old Matt Elliott. The center is 27-year-old Curtis Whitley. The right guard, Greg Skripanek. 26 years old, and the right tackle right now, I'm not sure who's starting. Half the time it was Norbert Davids Garrido, and then we'll look up who the other guy was in a second. There's a pitch out to Natron Means, and he doesn't go anywhere. Definitely a defensive battle. Okay, so we're back to the Chargers. We've talked about Humphreys, Means, and the tight ends that also play fullback. The two, say, Sean Jefferson, 25 years old, had 43 catches in 1994. Mark Say, more of the possession receiver, had 58 catches. And then the offensive line from left to right is 29-year-old Harry Swain. There's another penalty. Well, you're getting to know these Chargers offensive linemen from their penalties, although that doesn't tell us who it's on. Left guard, 24-year-old Joe Kokozo. The center is Courtney Hall, 26-year-old. And the right guard is Joe Milnicek, the 31-year-old veteran. And then speaking of veterans, the old man of the team, Stan Brock, the 36-year-old right tackle. The Chargers are going to punt again. And now that we finally went through some offenses, what you really want to know about is the defense. So now that the Panthers have the ball, we'll talk about this Charger defense. They do the 4-3 alignment. The defensive line is the big Chris Mills, who does have double-digit sacks in 1994 but does not make the Pro Bowl or anything. Still a very good player on the left end. In the middle, the big boys, Reuben Davis and Sean Lee, a 28 and 29-year-old, big power guys in the middle to kind of take up all the blockers for that man, Junior Seau, and the other linebackers to make tackles. And then the right side is the Pro Bowler, Leslie O'Neal, 12 and a half sacks. So between Mims and O'Neal, there's 23 and a half sacks there from 94. The linebacking core, David Griggs, Dennis Gibson, who you saw get an interception already today. And while we were talking, Kerry Collins finds Wesley Walls for a huge play downfield. And then the star of the show, defensively at least, the X factor for the Chargers, is Junior Seau, one of the greatest all-time linebackers in NFL history. The corners are Darian Gordon and Dwayne Harper, and then your safeties are Stanley Richard and Darren Carrington. And also noticeable on this team is the third safety, rookie Rodney Harrison, who will be more famous on the Patriots, but he starts here on the 94 Chargers. Okay, there's a handoff to Baya Batuka, a little juke move, but Junior Seau and Dennis Gibson are there to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Panthers having their longest drive since the touchdown drive. Kerry Collins fires. It lit up like he was throwing to Wesley Walls, but if he did, he overthrew him by like 8 yards. A dangerous pass over the middle of the field. It actually was closer to the other receiver downfield. But here's Casey. He can make these, but since it's raining, I'm not sure. 52 yards, but in the elements, he does it. John Casey comes through. The left-footed kicker buries it from 52 yards away. And the Panthers increase their lead to 10-3. Here's a return. It's not Gordon, who's the better of the return men normally, but a nice return. Was that? Oh, actually, it's Coleman. So the Chargers have two good returners as well. The Panthers, very good returners. Chargers, pretty solid returners. You see Panthers dominating on the total yardage. Chargers' only points were because of that interception from Dennis Gibson. Here's Natron Means. Every time the Chargers get a play, there's a penalty on the offensive line. They are just killing themselves. They've gotten 3 or 4 first downs, and all of them have been called back for penalties. So that's why the Chargers are sitting at less than 20 total offensive yards. They have more penalty yards than offensive yards, so they're, in essence, negative. There's another penalty. Natron Means breaking tackles, and none of it matters. What is going on? Back-to-back holding penalties. First by the tight end Young, and now by the right tackle Brock. Whew. Chargers need to figure out what's going on. Here they deliver a pass and no penalty, so they get a couple of the yards back, but still 2nd and 22. We'll hold off on the Panthers defense because I don't think that the Chargers are going to be able to recover from a 1st and 30. Humphreys hit as he throws, incomplete. You've met a bunch of the names already, Fox, Green, and Lathan from getting sacks and such, so you already know a third of the starting defense. But Humphreys goes back to pass on 3rd and 22, tries to deliver underneath, but Young drops the ball. So Young's got holding penalties and drops. Not a great start to the game for him. 5 minutes to go in the first half. The Chargers defense, a lot of pressure to keep this game from becoming a blowout. It's 10-3 now, but their offense has done nothing. They've been on the field way too much. They're trying to hold up against this Panther team. If the Panthers are able to get this win at home, which it looks like they're on their way to doing, they will go to 2-0, which will be quite nice for them. The Chargers in danger of dropping to 0-2. Now, the Chargers made it to the Super Bowl, and the Panthers made it to the championship game. And when you talk about best teams in a 13-year era like this is, from 1984 all the way through 1996, you might think, well, if you're not a team that won the Super Bowl. Oh, Kerry Collins underthrows his receiver, and it's picked off by Gordon, and he cuts it back and returns it for a touchdown. So the Chargers defense is not only keeping it close, they are equaling the Panthers offense. The Chargers offense can't do anything, but the Chargers defense has picked Kerry Collins off twice. First time they lost a few yards and kicked a field goal. This time the returner Gordon just takes it back himself. He is a kick returner, so he definitely has return skills and brings it back for a pick six, and this game is tied. The Panthers have had the ball almost the entire half, and yet the scoreboard says we're tied 10-10. So I was going to say, certainly the teams that won Super Bowls should be favored, but I think we mentioned this before, 84-96 was completely dominated by the NFC. There was no Super Bowl champions out of the AFC from 1984 to 1996. And yes, the 1984 Seattle Seahawks were part of the AFC. Here in Madden, they're in the NFC. The team itself was actually an AFC West team, but they did not win the Super Bowl either, so no trickery there. But in fact, in this 13-year span, we only have 6 champions because there's a lot of multiple champions. So you have the Bears and Packers each won, the team that's represented here. And then you have the Giants and Redskins, which each have one of their teams, but they also had another team win the Super Bowl. So they each have 2 rings in this era, and one of those teams was brought to represent. The Cowboys had 3 rings in the early 90s. So the 92 Cowboy team that's here, the 93 and 95 team, of course, can't be here because the 92 team is here. And then the 49ers have 4. So there's only 6 champions, even though it's 13 seasons because of all the multiple winnings. So only 6 of these 31 teams are actually Super Bowl champions. So when you have a team like San Diego Chargers, who were AFC champions, winning your conference, you could argue that they are the 7th best team. I mean, they're not a Super Bowl winner, so you can't put them in the top 6. But they won their conference, which is the next tier. But if I'm going to say something crazy like that, they need to stop holding and start playing a little bit off. It's defense doing a fantastic job. But speaking of defense, let's see if we can meet the Panthers. We're probably going to have to do it quick because it's already 3rd down. Okay, they go with the 3-4 on the line. Nothing special, just solid players. Mike Fox, Greg Cragen, and Gerald Williams. The linebackers where all the studs are. Kevin Green, an all-pro outside linebacker. Sam Mills, an all-pro middle linebacker. Carlton Bailey, You'll see him when we see the 1990 Buffalo Bills as well, but more of a veteran presence here in 1996. And then outside linebacker Lamar Lathan is a Pro Bowler, so 2 All-Pros and a Pro Bowler in the linebacking core. Then in the secondary safeties are Pat Terrell and Brett Maxey. And then the corners are Tyrone Poole, the youngster at 24 years old, and Eric Davis, the Pro Bowl corner. So again, 4 Pro Bowlers on the Panthers defense. And now let's see what the Panthers offense can do. Oh, that's complete. And then he comes down from the tackle. It actually looked like Harper was going for the interception. And Carrington does make the tackle to save a touchdown, but it looks like Gordon actually came out of the blitz. Harper's back here. No, he did go for the big hit. He was not going for the interception. He was going for the big hit instead of the wrap-up. The receiver carrier bounced off the hit and got a lot of yards after the catch. And now the Panthers already in field goal range. And Kerry Collins just underneath. There's Winslow Oliver. Another of the back. We had not mentioned him because he does not play anywhere near as much as the first 2, but he'll get in there as you saw. There's Kerry Collins throwing the ball away with 35 seconds to go. They have 2 timeouts, so time not really an issue. Panthers, it's crazy. I mean, they have so much more yardage than the Chargers do. So much more time of possession. It feels like a blowout. The Chargers don't even have a 3rd down conversion, but with 30 seconds to go, we're still tied. Collins is going to avoid 1 sack, but then get hit. And that is not a fumble. That's an incomplete pass. But the Chargers doing what they can on defense to hold on. Oh, wow. And look at this. The Panthers are going to go for it 4th and 2. This gives the Chargers a chance to get to halftime tied. This could be a mistake. Let's see. Play action pass. Good protection. Collins fires downfield. Complete down to the 3-yard line, and they call timeout. So, wow. Wow, the Panthers are going aggressive. Got great blocking up front, and Collins gets good blocking again and delivers a touchdown pass. So, absolutely the right call by Tom Capers, going for it. Great protection on back-to-back plays. Collins hits Carrier to get him down there, and then hits Willie Green in the end zone right there for the touchdown. So the Panthers regain the lead with just 16 seconds to go in the first half. Casey puts it up and through, and the Panthers lead 17-10. Don Capers congratulating his team. The team congratulating him on letting them go for it. And now the Chargers with 11 seconds to go. The way their offense has been, at the most you hand off. You probably should just kneel, but maybe you hand off just to see if they can block without holding. 3 tight ends. Hand off to Nate John Means, and they do not hold, but he doesn't go anywhere. So 10 carries, 10 yards. Nate John Means having a frustrating day. He's had 3 runs of 7 yards or more, significant runs, and all 3 were called back with holding. When they don't hold, he is nowhere to go. So the Panthers lead at the half, 17-10. Are they going to go over any of the early games that have been played, or is it going to be just a nothing? Oh, no, here we go. Okay. This was one of the games that was played. Great. The Buffalo Bills of 1990 beat the 84 Dolphins 34-7. Jim Kelly was on fire, 334 yards. Lofton, you see 7 catches. Thurman Thomas did some things. 49ers and Vikings, also another game was played. The Vikings pulled the upset 27-24. That's the 1992 Vikings beating the 89 49ers. Definitely a big upset there. And the Seahawks and Patriots. Patriots, you see, got to 2-0. The Seahawks fall to 0-2. The Bills, kind of a blowout. The other 2 games were very close, and I'm very proud of Madden. That's actually the first time, maybe ever, that I broadcast a game on using Madden, and they actually had a decent halftime show, or at least halftime update. You'll remember the old days of Back to the Future where literally every halftime update would feature Game 3 of the Bears versus the Bears in a 0-0 thriller. That doesn't happen really in Madden 25. I did see it once, though. Typically, what happens, though, is you will get them highlighting games that have not been played yet. So I found that last time I broadcast from Madden 25, the first game was a game that was played, gave you some nice stats and everything. And then the next one was like, and tomorrow on Monday Night Football, this will be happening. And then the third game was like an afternoon game that hasn't been played yet, and they just show you stats of everybody has 0 yards. So very good, historically good for Madden. Halftime show there, getting 3 highlights. So hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing some of the stats from the games that are not present. But yeah, I mean, all these games are simulated, so not that I might not be watching them completely 100% in intent, but they are computer simulated, just not broadcast. And so I can tell you that that 49ers-Vikings game was a very thrilling game that the Vikings held off the 49ers at the end. And it's a big win for them because they avoid going to 0-2, so the 92 Vikings improved to 1-1, and the 89 49ers, who are one of the heavy favorites in this league, dropped to 1-1. On the Thursday night game, the 1990 Buffalo Bills and the 1984 Miami Dolphins, I thought, was going to be a very explosive offensive game, and I was half right. The Bills' offense looked great, but the Bills' defense also looked great. Marino had a tough game, and the Bills won that one easily. Oh, there's a long pass from Stan Humphries downfield, but you see the coverage of Pat Terrell not letting Say get a hold of that one. So now from the near formation, Stan Humphries back to pass again. He'll throw it, and Kevin Green, a little bit of trickery there from Dom Capers, as Kevin Green, the sack artist, drops into coverage and is able to knock that ball away. Nothing the Chargers are doing on offense is working here. Stan Humphries is going to sit there too long, and that's more of what Lathan and Green are used to, getting the sack. That's the second time that they've both picked up a half a sack, and both times they give credit to Lathan. But Humphries having a rough game. I can't even remember how many sacks the Panthers are up to. That's at least 4. That might already be 5 sacks on Humphries. Again, if you're just joining and you're looking at the score, you're like, why are you acting like the Panthers are dominating this game? It's only 17-10. Well, that's true, but the 10 points that the Chargers have gotten, Gibson, the linebacker, picked off the first pass of the game, and the Chargers got a quick 3 points without moving the ball at all. Then later, Gordon picked off a Kerry Collins pass and returned it for a pick 6. That's your 10 points. The Chargers have not moved the ball at all. They have 0 third down conversions. I don't even think they have a first down now that I think about it. You saw there they have 10. We're in the third quarter, and the San Diego Chargers from 1994 have a total of 10 total yards. Junior Seau lit up there with that big hit. He lit up the ball carrier, and his little X lit up. Let's see. Oh, it's not going to be – he's not on fire yet, though. It just lit up for a minute there. And here comes a blitz around the edge, and Darian Gordon gets the sack. He has a pick 6, and now he gets a sack on a cornerback blitz. So Bobby Ross doing whatever he can with his defense to keep this game close, and the Chargers have kept it close. It's a one-score game still, but is their offense ever going to wake up? 10 yards is insanely terrible. Now, these Panthers, again, are the number 2 defense in 1996. So the year that they're from now, this is a 13-year span. So I guess you would say, that's 13 number 1 defenses, 13 number 2 defense, etc. So I don't know offhand how many number 1 and number 2 defenses are. I'm sure certainly a handful, but it's not like all 26 of the top 2 defenses from each year in this league. I know the team that was above them in 96 was the Green Bay Packers, and they are in this league. There's a shot out. What's crazy is that Stan Humphries, when he goes back to pass, he's gotten sacked a lot, which makes you think maybe the Panthers are blitzing like they just did there. When the Panthers blitz, they get home. But when they don't, and Humphries actually gets able to throw the ball, it seems like there's double coverage everywhere. One time there was a deep pass that was single coverage, and it was just good coverage by the Panthers. But every other time it seems like he's throwing into double coverage. Like the Panthers are playing with 13 defenders. It's crazy. A great performance by the Panthers defense so far. In fact, if not for Kerry Collins throwing a couple of interceptions, this game could easily be 17-0 and looking like a blowout. There's a handoff to Johnson, and Darian Gordon gets the hit. So Darian Gordon having a great game. Look at that total yards, 239-5. There's a handoff again, and Johnson fighting hard. He has 12 carries for 54 yards on the day. Usually before now, or at least by now in the middle of the third quarter, they will show you what the running back did last week. They are not showing us what Anthony Johnson did in week 1. And Collins able to get rid of it before getting hit. So that, again, will just save a few yards, which when your team is built primarily on defense, then every play like that is very important. The Panthers earlier did go for it at 4th and 2 and were successful. Here at 4th and inches, they decide to go ahead and punt it away. I probably would have kicked the field goal the first time they went for it, and I definitely would have punted there just because their defense is so dominant. The Chargers can't do a thing on offense, so why give them any hope to make a play on defense and get hyped up, get one good drive and tie this thing. So if I haven't mentioned it already, I am a Bears fan. So, of course, my favorite team of this era is going to be the 1985 Chicago Bears Super Bowl champions. So luckily for this era, I do have one of the champions. Again, there's only 6 Super Bowl champions in this 13-year span. But one of them is my team, so pretty excited about that. Of course, they lost in week 1, so that wasn't great. Humphries back to pass on 3rd and 11, and he fires deep downfield, and he has a man open. He got behind the defense of Tony Martin. So the Chargers don't do anything the entire game until now, and it's a huge play. Tony Martin gets behind the defense. Good protection without holding for once by the Chargers, and Humphries puts it right on the money to Martin, who gets the touchdown. And so the Chargers, with one good offensive play, have tied. Well, not yet, but they're about to tie this game. Yes, sir. It's 17-17. 3 plays, 78 yards. Cameraman's going absolutely nuts. 6:43 going to third quarter, and it's actually got a chance to turn into a good game here, 17-17. Now the yardage looking a little bit more respectable. Chargers still under 100, but at least they're over 10. There's a handoff to Johnson again, and Leslie O'Neal gets off his block and makes the tackle. Johnson again doesn't go anywhere. Oh! Junior Seau was all lit up on fire. His X Factor has nothing to do with catching the ball, though, obviously, as he drops what seemed to be an obvious interception. Kerry Collins, lucky that Seau could not hold on to that. That would have been his third interception thrown. And the Chargers will get the ball back here from their own 40-yard line now that the game's tied. Martin, he's been targeted 4 times, 2 catches for 85 yards. So quite a yards per catch going on today. Humphreys play action pass. Humphreys feeling it now. Oh, and the Chargers are back to holding. But there you go again. He doesn't get sacked, but then when he throws it, he's throwing it into double coverage because there's just so many Panthers on the field. Brock again, man, the old man, having some problems with the pass rush of the Panthers, holding a lot. Humphreys back to pass. Here comes, that's good protection, and he gets it out to Mark Say, and gets it up to a 2nd and 7. Here's a pitch to Natron Means, and oh, wow, what a play. He goes through, Terrell comes up from a safety position and goes through a block to make that tackle. 4 wideouts, the Chargers spreading it out. I don't know if they have 4 wideouts. They might have a tight end out there. Throws it away either way, and they will punt. So the Carolina Panthers from 1996, to either engage your memory or, you know, if you're a youngster and you were not even around at that time, the Panthers, an expansion team, played their inaugural season in 1995, and then right here in 1996, started off the season with 3 straight wins. There's a completion to Wesley Walls, the all-pro tight end. They started off with 3 straight wins on the season and then ran into some problems. Lost 4 of their next 6. And found themselves at 5-4 in the first week, after the first week of November. 5-4. Then from that point on, they didn't lose again until the championship game. So they beat the Giants, Rams, Oilers, Bucks, 49ers, Ravens, and Steelers in consecutive order. That win against the 49ers basically clinched the division, and then they went on to win their last 2 games as well to get to 12-4. And then this is the 1996 team, so then they hosted the Cowboys in the divisional round. Cowboys, of course, winners of the Super Bowl 92. There's Johnson. He got a block. It looked like a block in the back, but there's no flag, and he gets all the way down to the 3-yard line. Good hustle there by Junior Seau. The corner, with enough speed, able to catch him, and Seau, since he was running with him step for step, is able to finish the tackle right here. But a huge run. Great blocking by the Panthers. I thought it was holding. It was such a nice block by the wideout, but it was not holding. So it was so good that I thought maybe it was holding. It was not, and ends up being a huge running play. And now Kerry Collins is going to have a chance to get another touchdown pass here. He hit green last time they were down here. Big run by Anthony Johnson. They'll give it to Anthony Johnson to finish it off, and he does. He slams into the end zone for the touchdown. Anthony Johnson, he got him there with the big run. He finishes the drive with a touchdown right up the middle, and 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Panthers are back on top. So the scoring started after the Chargers got an interception on the first throw of the game, and then immediately went backwards, but still got the field goal out of it. Then it was all Panthers for a while, but the Chargers got a pick six and then one big bomb to Martin. That's really all the Chargers have done. One big play to Martin and some defensive plays. It feels like they've been trailing most of the game. Part of the game they've been tied. But really, if you look at every stat, on the ground, the Panthers are doing much better. In the air, the Panthers are doing much better. And the special teams has been about equal. But the one thing the Chargers have is they're winning the turnover battle, and that is the great equalizer. In this case, it's only equalizing going from a blowout to a close game. But there is a missed tackle by Eric Davis. He comes up and makes up for it, but he kind of got himself out of position, maybe going for the interception. And instead of a 1-yard pass, it turns into an 8-yard pass. But now 3rd and 2. Natron Means is back there. Hand off, and he will bounce off a couple tacklers, but there's Carlton Bailey to clean it up. And the Panthers hold. Okay, we've played 3. If you're wondering why the Carolina Panthers are wearing white, they did wear all whites at home a few times in '96. Now with the rain, it's not because of the heat. It's not because it's a heat day. I didn't know it was going to rain, so I was thinking maybe, since we're in September, white for the heat. They did wear white in their first divisional game, playoff game as well. So they did wear white a lot in '96, a few times at home, a lot on the road. But in addition to that, the Chargers, they don't have the official uniforms from 94 at all. But this one is very close to their home uniform, or the blue jersey. They don't have anything that's close to what they wore on the road. So anytime the Chargers can play in the blue jerseys here, it looks a lot closer to what they look like in '94. So kind of a twofold reason. But there you see Anthony Johnson having a great game, 134 yards. Now this is an era, if you like running backs. Oh, look at this! The Panthers pull out a reverse. It does not work, but that's the first time we've seen reverse from either of these teams. So a reverse to Mark Carrier. It doesn't go anywhere, though. 3rd and 3, Collins back to pass. Throws underneath the walls, but a nice hit by Stanley Richard, the safety, up there to play Wesley Walls and stop him from getting the first down. The Chargers defense keeping him in this game. Again, I was saying something. Who knows? I can't remember what I was saying 2 minutes ago. Let's see if Stan Humphries can remember how to find Martin deep. I formation, play action pass, no flag, and he finds Mark Say on the edge. So Stan Humphries out of the University of Louisiana Monroe also played at LSU. So definitely a Louisiana kid through and through, born in Shreveport, Louisiana. Played at 2 different colleges in Louisiana. And drafted actually in the 6th round by the Washington Redskins back in 1988. Spent just a couple years there. Started 5 games with the Redskins in 2 years. Missed the entire 91 season, and then the Chargers gave him a chance, and he stepped in 1992 immediately as the starter, and would end up starting. Oh, he's looking deep. Humphries going for the. Oh, he had him too. The defense let the receiver get behind him again for the second time. The first time Humphries was right on the money. This time he just overthrew Say, and that could have been a game-tying touchdown. Humphries not afraid to go for the deep pass. I was going to say that Humphries is the starter for the Chargers from 92 through 97 when an injury shortened the 97 year, and he decided to call it quits after the injury as well. But I told you before he's an above average quarterback, maybe only slightly above average quarterback, but I really do feel there's a great throw, and that's going to be a touchdown to Willie Green. Perfect. So after Stan Humphries misses the deep pass that could have tied it, Collins comes out, and on his very first play, he puts a perfect ball right over Gordon's. Gordon didn't even put his hand up, but had he put his hand up, it would have been right over his hand, right into the basket of Green. Hit him in stride, and Green able to take it the distance. So huge play by the Panthers, and that with the way the Chargers have played offense, when it's more than a one-score game, it feels like that's game over now. Outside the turnovers, if the Panthers throw a pick six or something, of course. But the Chargers offense is probably not going to score 2 touchdown drives. Anyways, to close the loop on Mr. Stan Humphries, he did end up starting 76 of the 79 games that he played for the Chargers. And in his career, including those 5 starts with the Redskins, he did go 50 wins and 31 losses. So again, not bad. Now only 89 touchdowns to 84 interceptions. So again, that's why people don't consider him a great quarterback, and he certainly was not a great quarterback. That's not what I'm saying, but he was a starter, and he was a starter for multiple years in a row, and he did win more than he lost, 50-30. So not a bad quarterback at all. And Stan Brock is not this bad of an offensive tackle either. I don't know what is going on today, but that's like his 4th holding penalty for Stan Brock. Play action pass, Humphries gets rid of it, and the Panthers are just beating up the Chargers at this point. That was Lang, the 3rd tight end. 2nd and 20. Still 10 minutes to go, but the Chargers just... The only play they have is the deep ball that works, 50% of the time. Firing deep again. Oh! So, play 1, Humphries right on the money. It's a touchdown. Play 2, Humphrey overthrows it. It's incomplete. Deep shot number 3. It's not a perfect pass, but it's on point. It should have been caught, but it was dropped. And there's Eric Davis with lockdown coverage as the Panthers are starting to realize that the only prayer that the Chargers have, they definitely can't put sustained drives together. They have to hit these big passes downfield. And I think now that the Panthers know that that's all they got, it's going to be hard to pull off again. So Kerry Collins pulled one off last time he had the ball, and there's the replay of it yet again. Gordon not even attempting to put his hand up. There's Willie Green found earlier in the end zone. So Willie Green's up to 2 touchdown passes today, or receptions. Oh, David's Garrido is starting today. There's a play-action pass from Collins, and fires it. He hits by Batuka on a wheel route out of the backfield. Everything working out for the Panthers. The Panthers are getting close. Yes, 474 yards. This is insane. So they've kind of dominated the whole time. Somehow it was 17-17 at one point. And there's finally a penalty on the Panthers, I think. But you see, in most aspects, has felt like a dominated game this entire time. It's starting to get there. They're up by 14. They're trying to go up by 3 scores. They're at nearly 500 yards. Collins delivers again So Collins, after throwing those 2 interceptions early to keep the Chargers in it, has really come back. He's over 350 yards, 2 touchdowns matching the 2 interceptions. And there's a quick throw. Nice tackling, though, by the Chargers. And Anthony Johnson has outperformed Natron Means as well. So the Panthers doing everything right, about to go to 2-0. Collins fires a little bit low on that throw. The rain, the elements have caused some accuracy problems from the quarterbacks, but Collins still having a great day. Casey also having no problems with the rain. 50-yard field. This is second 50 or longer field goal. And a 3-score game is kind of a blowout. So if the Chargers don't put any more points on, this will certainly constitute as a blowout. Yardage-wise is almost 3-1. There's a handoff to the fullback. Or as we talked about, the tight ends play fullback. There's not an actual fullback on their roster. Lang gets the carry. He gets 9 yards. Humphreys back to pass, gets rid of it before getting sacked, and that's important because it'll keep it 3rd and inches. The one thing the Chargers have done bad as an offensive line is hold a lot. The one thing that they were doing bad is giving up a lot of sacks. They've kind of done better at that in the second half. I don't think Collins or Humphreys has been sacked more than once here in the second half. Now a lot of those are holds, but even when they're not holding, they are able to give them enough time to at least get the ball thrown out of bounds. So Natron Means picks up a couple yards. They're still trying to run here and there for no other reason than to make sure Humphreys doesn't get obliterated. Another handoff to the tight end Lang. It worked the first time, so why not try it again? Doesn't work as well this time, but still brings up a 3rd and 2. I formation. And did Kevin Green go, or did Stan Brock jump? Oh my gosh. I mean, it's tough to go up against Kevin Green, but what is that now? 4 holding penalties and a false start. Just a disastrous day for the right tackle. And there's a handoff to Ronnie Harmon. He comes in on 3rd downs, usually as a pass-catching back, but this time they gave him the ball, and he got a few yards. Natron Means cannot overpower Sam Mills. The 37-year-old linebacker Sam Mills has a great year in 96, all-pro middle linebacker, and he stops Natron Means right there, and that was pretty much the last of the wind that was in the Chargers' sail there. I mean, it's already over, but maybe they were thinking they get points on that drive. They have 3 timeouts. They get another drive, and then you're talking onside kick, but at least it's possible. Now it's basically impossible. Now they need multiple onside kicks and or the Panthers to just give them free points with like a pick 6 or something. So not going to happen. Chargers came in. Defense at first caused some turnovers, but never were they actually stopping the Chargers. Chargers were getting yards aplenty. They're going to end with close to 500 yards here. And they pick up another first down to add insult to injury. But the Chargers defense, even though they got pushed around, they actually played better than the Chargers offense, who was completely pathetic outside of one nice pass from Humphreys to Martin. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. I mean, these are all great teams, but when you're playing great teams, sometimes you get beat pretty bad. The game plan was just better on the side of the Panthers today, and they used the home field to get some false starts. The rain should not really affect the Chargers. Yes, I don't think it was the elements, but the Chargers are going to start off 0-2. That's not great. The Panthers, on the other hand, will go to 2-0, and because of that, one of the highlighted games at halftime where the 1989 49ers lost, that means nothing, because it's Madden 25 and there's no way, this is not PC with mods and things, so I couldn't change the division. So the Panthers are not in the 49ers division as they were in both, in 1996 after they were this team. But they are in the South. They are in the South, meaning they're with the 1996 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are, a 6-10 team. The 1992 Saints, who are a good team, led by the defense, very similar actually to this Panther team, but they're not 2-0. And then the prime time, too legit to quit 91 Falcons team, who is just not as good of a team. So the Panthers probably the favorites in this division anyway, and now that they've started off 2-0, definitely looking like the favorites in the South. The Chargers, it was going to be a battle between them and the Broncos, most thought, since they made it to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs and Raiders did not. But an 0-2 start is not what they wanted. Puts them in last place in their division. So anyways, we'll show some stats real quick as we're saying goodbye. But thank you for anyone that watched. Hopefully you enjoyed it. The game was not very close, so that's unfortunate. But hopefully you'll come back for some other games. Maybe you learned a little bit about the 1994 San Diego Chargers or the 1996 Panthers. Hopefully you come back when your team's playing. But anyways, comments are always welcome. If you have any comments about the roster, if you ever see anything wrong, like, hey, I know Wesley Walls had a visor or something and you didn't see it in this game, that's not true, but definitely mention that. Always looking to fix the product, but otherwise, if you just downloaded the rosters and you enjoyed it, or if you're doing something with them, definitely let me know, like, hey, I downloaded these rosters, I'm going to do my own thing on YouTube or whatever. Drop a comment so I can check out whatever you plan on doing with the rosters. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Have a great night, and we will see you again probably in about a week, maybe next Monday, most likely the next time that we'll broadcast. Have a good one.